Hello, everyone. It's time to take a look at what weekly news magazines are saying around the world. And to help us do that, we've got our Florence Villemona with us here in the studio. Hi, Flo.
Hi, Jeannie.
Let's start out with Jeune Afrique. It's focusing on Ivory Coast ahead of the presidential elections that are scheduled for next year.
That's right. Elections won't be held until the final trimester of 2015, but Jeune Afrique wonders who will defy Alassane Ouattara. Now, a lot of people, according to Jeune Afrique, are saying that they want to throw their hat into the race, and on the front page you can see a photo of 4 of what Jeune Afrique calls the ambitious contenders. Jeune Afrique also says that Alassane Ouattara, he really wants to keep them at a distance so that he can stay in power. Now, Jeune Afrique also focuses on another election, this time in Algeria, where presidential elections are supposed to be held on April 17th. The key question is, will he, won't he? The current president, Abdelaziz Bouteflika, has until March 4th to announce whether or not he's going to run in that race. And until then, Jeune Afrique says it's going to be a very suspenseful and potentially dangerous month.
Okay, Courier International now has turned its spotlight on the man of the hour, it seems these days, Pope Francis.
That's right. Courier International says that Pope Francis is one hell of a pope. That's on the front page of Courrier International. It focuses on the fact that international papers are really showering him with praise. He's recently been on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine. He was elected Person of the Year by Time magazine. Nearly 1 year after his election, he continues to be a superstar. The international press is under his charm, says Courrier International. They wonder, is this because he seems to embody change within the Catholic Church? But it points out that some papers are more skeptical and say that you should really judge him on his actions and not his PR. Courrier International says that he really has his work cut out for him. He still has to reform a lot of things within the Vatican, especially the Vatican's bureaucracy and very opaque banking system.
All right, Courier International also takes a look at reactions to Switzerland's controversial vote to back those strict quotas on immigrants from the EU.
That's right. Courrier International says that Switzerland has slapped Europe in the face. Now, Switzerland really surprised its neighbors, according to Courrier International, and upset Brussels with this vote. This could really complicate relations between Switzerland and Brussels and have serious economic consequences.
Okay, let's move on now to French politics, where Le Point and L'Express have been particularly critical of the government.
That's right. Let's take a look at Le Point, the right-wing newspaper. It's not very nice today. It says that les surdoués au pouvoir. Now, surdoué in French means genius, so surdoué is the opposite, so I guess you could say the dummies are in power. They ruin everything, says Le Point, even good ideas. Le Point is very critical of the government that's getting tripped up because of its own sloppy amateurs, says Le Point. So very harsh words in Le Point today. And this despite the fact that they've launched critical economic reform, according to Le Point. Now, L'Express talks about a couple that's drifting apart, but for once they're not talking about French President François Hollande and his former partner Valérie Trierweiler. They're talking about Hollande and the Prime Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault. Things are complicated, according to L'Express. C'est le grand n'importe quoi. Their relationship is rubbish. As for the economy, L'Express says that the government policies are a trap, and the ministers, well, they're making mistakes. So a lot of harsh words in L'Express as well.
All right, let's look at the left-leaning magazine Nouvel Observateur, which is more focused on the right.
That's right. Let's take a look at that cover this week. It talks about Génération Réac, so the reactionary generation. You can see a photo of a very young protester there. Now, it all started when young people took to the streets to demonstrate against plans to legalize gay marriage, la manif pour tous. Now, these were a lot of young people who up until then had been very apolitical and not really used to demonstrating. Well, Nouvelle Up says they're really getting used to demonstrating, are ready to take to the streets, make their voices heard because they're upset about a lot of things, especially the government's family policies. They're very much against abortion or legalizing medically assisted procreation or surrogate mothers for gay couples. They're even against what France calls the so-called gender theory. Now, Nouvelle Up says this is really a new generation of moral crusaders, but who are these people? A lot of people compare them, for instance, to the Tea Party movement in the United States. They're a new conservative generation, a new right wing that's really shaking up the traditional right wing, and they're finding out that they have a lot of power.
It's interesting. Many of them are young. You usually think it's the other way around there. All right, let's wrap up with a touching story in Paris Match.
That's right. Touching and sad this week on the cover of Paris Match. You can see Corinna Schumacher, so Michael Schumacher's wife of 18 years. Paris Match says says that she's holding on to her love with dear life. She's been by his bed ever since that tragic ski accident put him into a coma. And to end on something maybe a little lighter, also in Paris Match this week, after François Hollande's alleged affair with an actress, Paris Match also has an exclusive report about another affair, this time between the Industrial Recovery Minister Arnaud Montebourg and an actress, Elsa Zilberstein. The love story, Paris Match calls it. Seems like there's some sort of a trend starting here in the government. Well, if you want all the juicy details and photos, check out Paris Match this week.
All right. Thank you so much, Florence Villeminot, for that look at the weekly news magazines. Thanks to you for watching France 24. Have a great weekend.